Hi, I'm Leanne and this is Ella, and we're going to take you on a tour of our garden to show you what we've got growing at the moment. At the moment it is towards the end of August, so we're kind of between seasons. Our best growing season here is in the South East Queensland, is over the winter period where it's a bit cooler. And now we're sort of heading into our spring growing season. So we've just got between September, October and November to grow anything, and then it just gets too hot here. So we'll go and have a look and see what we've got growing, and see what new things we're going to do as well. So we'll start here with these tomato plants that I've got growing along the fence here. This is a new plot of garden that I started this season, and I planted these tomatoes and some strawberries in the background there. They're not doing too well, but the tomatoes are doing pretty good. And yeah, everything seems to be going well. They enjoy the sun here. The only issue that I have with these is this curling leaf. I don't know if it's a virus or if it's the soil or what it is, but the young leaves curl, and then later on they open out as the plant gets a little bit older. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that is. And also these ones had a bit of funky flowers. These really big kind of 2 or 3 flowers joined together type flower heads, and some unusual fruit that I got from those as well over here. Here's one of the tomatoes that I had. It was from one of those really big flower heads. So yeah, I don't know, it's a bit strange, but I'm not complaining about the number of tomatoes that are already growing on the plants and the flowers, so they must be doing something right. Now these tomatoes, I used a different system for staking them. So I've got 2 big stakes like this at either end with a rope going along the top there, and then from the top for each tomato plant I have a string coming down and wrapping around each tomato. As it gets taller, you just kind of flick it around, and I've used the other system for a stake for each tomato before, and this is a lot less time consuming. You know, every time you walk past and you see it needs flicking around, you just kind of flick it around the rope and it continues supporting the plant. I really need to cut off some of the side shoots from these plants. I haven't really been looking after them. Now another thing that I've tried in this patch is companion planting. So basil and marigolds are supposed to help to keep the pests away. The smell overpowers the tomato smell. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. The basil's definitely growing really well, and so are the marigolds, so we'll see what happens with that. So here we're just in the middle of the banana patch, and I've planted a sweet potato plant here. I've planted them 3 or 4 months ago, but I haven't really seen any sign of any tubers coming out from it, so I don't know. Yeah, I think it was the wrong season that I planted them in, so I'm just going to leave this one in for a little bit longer and see whether we get some sweet potatoes from that. Yeah, here we have a perennial basil that I have growing on the side of the garden. This here has been the best thing for attracting insects to the garden. Sometimes of the year it's just absolutely covered with honeybees. We have a visitor right here, and they just love coming here and getting the pollen and nectar from these flowers. And it's great to encourage them to come into the garden and pollinate your garden plants. Now I've also propagated from this bush. It's really easy to propagate from. I just took some cuttings that didn't have any flowers on them and stuck them in the ground, and they quickly developed roots as I watered them, And now they're really healthy plants, which I'll show you in a little bit of time. Another busy little bee there. Okay, over here we have our pawpaw tree. This tree is just one year old, not even a year old, I don't think yet. And it grew really well, grew heaps of fruit. They didn't ripen in time before it got cold though. And now it's got these spots all over the fruit and all over the leaves, so I'm not quite sure. Our pawpaws have had it in the past. This is the first time we've actually managed to get fruit. But it must be some disease that they get from that. Over here we have our lemongrass. So I've got 2 bushes of lemongrass here, both of which I'm planning on pulling out, as I've got one in the chicken yard now and I'd rather use this space for something else. And underneath here we have another sweet potato plant that's not looking too happy, probably needs some more water, and just some wild cherry tomatoes that are struggling. But I think that was a pawpaw tree as well. It looks a bit sad. It needs a bit of TLC, so I might maybe transplant that somewhere else. Around the corner here we have our nasturtium. Now this stuff is great. One, it just looks fantastic in the garden anyway, although you want it in a place where it doesn't matter if it takes over a bit. But it's also great for helping you to keep away the colds and flus over the winter period. Whenever we get a bit of a sore throat, we start hoeing into the leaves, and it really helps to keep the colds and flus away. I've used it as a border to stop the grass. The grass used to keep coming into the garden, and so it's now a border that kind of protects the garden from the invasion of the grass. It's really helped with that. And here we have our parsnip patch. So these parsnips are just about ready for harvest. They're getting quite big there now. There's a really big one here. There we go. So yeah, they're ready to start pulling out and putting into soups. And what we do we plant a big patch like this, and then when we harvest them we grind them up into small pieces and put them in the freezer in little packs, ready for soup. So when we want to make a soup, we just pull one of those little packs out and chuck it in the soup. And we have all the parsnip that we need. Over behind the parsnip you see the white on the ground, the soil that I'm preparing to plant some climbing beans along the edge there. So I'll plant some on that side and over there as well. And then there's a third one over there. And over here, where I have eggplant and lettuce at the moment, that's going to come out, and we'll have bush beans in this patch. So I'm going to start working on that today. Now down here I have a garlic. This is a garlic we bought maybe 2 or 3 years ago at a gardening show. It's supposed to be a good garlic for growing here in Queensland. First year we had pretty good success with it. It's quite a big bowl, but it only has like 4 or 5 cloves on each garlic ball. But yeah, the second year and third year I haven't had any success, and I think I was planting at the wrong time of the year and harvesting at the wrong time. So these are self-sown ones that have just been left in the ground from previous years. So I'm just going to leave it and see how it goes, and maybe try around December and see if I can get any garlic off it. Now just behind we have some kale that I grew from seed, and a little sweet potato cutting. Now this box is something that I've tried, something new, just to protect seedlings when I first put them in the ground. I don't like to weed as little as possible, so I always try and put mulch as close as I can to the seedlings, but sometimes it's a bit smothering. So I've put a box down and cut a hole for the seedling to go through and for the water to go down. And yeah, it's keeping the seedling protected, keeping the roots protected, but stopping the mulch from smothering the plants. So I've got a few more kale and sweet potato plants there, and another wild cherry plant. They're kind of all around the place. They pop up everywhere, and they're really sweet little red cherry tomatoes. Behind us here we have what was the corn, and some lettuces growing down in the bottom there. These corn were really beautiful and sweet, and I managed to harvest them before the rats got them this time, so that was good. And some lettuce that's gone to seed. I just let them go to seed and chuck the seed all around the garden, and let them pop up wherever they come up. Some parsley. We've had a really great run with parsley this year. Everyone I've talked to in our area have said, oh, the parsley's grown really well this year, and it has. It's just been really beautiful parsley. So really happy with that. Some more lettuce that's gone to seed. So just pick the seeds off and throw them throughout the garden. Along here I have a row of rainbow chard silver beet. I really like growing this. We don't eat it all that much, though we should eat it more. It's quite nutritious. But I just love the colour, the different colour stalks, especially this one here. This is my favourite. It's just really beautiful to have in the garden, and it produces prolifically. It's a great thing to have to give away to your friends. I'm just always, whenever someone comes, I give them some silver beet. And this here is my rocket that's gone to seed. And I don't know if you can see, but it's got hundreds of little native bees busy everywhere. And some European bees there as well. But they're just buzzing everywhere. Absolutely loving it. So this rocket, this is the first time I've grown it like this. So I grew it thickly in rows, planted one row at a time, and then every so often, maybe once a week or every I don't know, a few days, I would come along and I'd cut the leaves off with the scissors and just leave the smallest leaves to regrow. And I was filling like a big bag at least once a week of rocket, more than what we could eat, or giving rocket away to everyone. And then once that row was starting to get a bit tired, I planted another row ready, and we've just really enjoyed a lot of rocket this season. Over here I have some more parsley, and this is one of my little patches of radishes down there that have all gone to seed now. And here is some pak choy or something like that. I don't know, it was just some seeds I had that I chucked in the ground. Great for adding into stir fries or salads. Up in the top corner, this is my root vegetable sections. So I've got carrots growing here, need a bit of water, and if you can see here how it's got a green top on it, that's because I haven't mounded up the soil or the mulch over top of the tops of the carrots. So it's great to regularly come and check your carrots and cover them up so that they don't get green tops like that. So in amongst the carrots I've planted some shallots or spring onions. Haven't done really that well. It's the first time I really tried growing them from the stuff you get from Bunnings. Yeah, I don't know if it was that successful. So I'm going to have to look into that and work out how to grow them a bit better. This is some dill that's self-seeded. And yeah, that's about it for this patch. I'll just show these carrots over here. They're really big. There we are, really big carrots coming in there. I might actually pull this one out. Oh, look at him, he's a bit stumpy, but he's fat. That's really cool.